File input and output is the process of reading and writing data to and from files on a computer file system. It is an essential operation in computer programming and used for various purposes such as storing data, logging, configuration, files, and more. The output operation, in order to print the output Python, provide us with a built-in function called print close and open parentheses. Example, print close and open parentheses to quotation hello Python. The output is hello Python. In this example, we first specified the file name as output text and open it in write mode using the open function with the W parameter. Then, we use the write method of the file object to write the string hello world to the file. After closing the file, we open it again in read mode using the open function with the R parameter. We use the read methods of the file object to read the contents of the file into the content variable. Finally, we print the content, which should be hello world in this case. Input operation. Python provides us with two inbuilt functions to read the input from the keyboard. Bullet number 1, row underscore input, and bullet number 2, input close and open. Row underscore input, this function read only one line from the standard input and return it as an string. And input, the input function first take the input from the user and then evaluate the expressions, which means Python automatically identify whether we enter string or number or list. Example, value equal row underscore input close and open parentheses to quotation, please enter the value. Print close and open parentheses to quotation, input received from the user is value. The output of please enter the value is hello Python. Input received from the user is hello Python. 3. File input and output I/O refers to the process of reading data from and writing data to files on a computer system. It allows program to interact with external files such as text files, binary files, or other types of files for the purpose of reading, storing information. Files involve reading data from a file. Typically, the steps involved in the file's input are as follows. Number 1, opening the files. The program needs to open the files before it can read its content. Number 2, reading the files. Once the files is open, the program can read its content. Number 3, processing the data. After reading the data from the files, the program can process it according to the desired logic or perform any necessary computations or operations. Number 4, closing the files. Once the program has finished reading the file, it should be closed to release system resources and ensure data integrity. And the file output, on the other hand, involve writing data to the files. The steps for file output are generally similar to the file input, but with some differences. Number 1, opening the files. Just like with files input, the program needs to open the file for writing. Number 2, writing the data. Once the file is open for writing, the program can write data to it. Number 3, closing the file. After the program has finished writing the data, it should close the files to release system resources and ensure that the data is properly saved. It's important to note that file input and output operation can involve error handling, such as checking if an file exists, handling permission, or dealing with exception that may occur during the process. Additionally, file output, input and output can have different modes such as read mode, write mode, append mode, etc., which determine how the files is accessed and modified.
Reading and writing binary file. Store data in binary format, which means that the data is represented in a sequence of zeros and ones. Binary file input or output involves opening a file for reading or writing in binary mode. Reading and writing in binary data from or to the file and closing the file. In Python, the open close parenthesis function is also used to open a binary file and the read and write functions are used to read and write binary data. So let's say we have a binary file. We can read it using the read close open method. First, we will open the binary file using the RB mode of the open method. We have the following source file in the drive. So for example, meron pa tayong nakikita nga dito na python logo.png. So for example is, meron po ditong code. So the output is the binary files are not humor-readable and content is unrecognizable. The actual output was bigger. So write to binary file. The WB mode of the open method is used to open a file in format form writing. Note, the binary files are not humor-readable and the content is unrecognizable. So let's see the complete example. For example is my demo binary.bin. So the output is after running the file is visible in the set. So file handling mode. The process of file handling refers to how we store the available data or info in a file with the help of program. The C language stores all the data available in a program into a file with the help of the file handling in C. This data can be fetched or extracted from these files to work again in any program. So, for example po is sa hello world na lang po. So, meron po tayong example dito. So, ito po. So, read mode used to read a file. So, write mode used to write data to a file. If the file already exists, it will be overwritten. If it does not exist, a new file will be created. So, kapag meron na daw po tayong file, makikita na po doon. Then if kung wala pa po is gagawa po tayo ng bago. So, the function opens the file pointed by pointer and read or write the file. In write mode, W is used, and in the read mode is R is used. When a file exists in the directory, it treats as a new empty file and override the content of file by new data. So, append mode used to add data to the end of an existing file. So, append mode adds information to an existing file, placing the pointer at the end. If a file does not exist, append mode creates the file. Note, the key difference between write and append mode is that append does not clear a file's contents. Add the sign or yung plus sign to include the read functionality. Exclusive mode used to create a new, it will raise an error if file already exists. So, exclusive mode allow if a program wants to get exclusive use of the audio device, it can get it if you check this option. Some audio drivers talk straight to the sound card bypassing the Windows audio engine. So, binary mode used to read or write binary data to a file. Binary mode deals with the data records, and these records can be in the form of a single byte or several bytes. Most often, structured objects are stored in binary mode and are stored sequentially. So, last text mode used to read or write text data to a file. Text mode is a mode of software program where only text is displayed. For example, a user may set their internet browser to only display text and no image.
Reading and writing text file. Text files contains plain text such as ASCII or Unicode characters. Text file I or O involves opening a file to reading or writing text data from or to the file, and closing the file. In Python, the open function is used to open text file, and the read and write functions are used to read and write text data. Reading from a file. Read returns the resources in form of a string, reads and bytes if no and specified reads. The enter file object read and so here are reading from a file refers to the process of retrieving data stored and in a file and loading into a computer program or script for further processing. This operation is commonly performed when working with text files, such as configurations, files, logs, files, or data files. Here are the following steps outline the general procedure for reading from a file. The first one is the opening file. First, you need to open the file you want to read in most programming languages. There are built-in functions or classes specifically designed for this purpose when opening a file. You usually provide the file's path or name as a parameter to the file opening function. The function returns a file handle or object that allows you to interact with the file. The second one is the reading file. Once the file is open, you can read its contents. There are different methods for reading file depending on the programming language or the level of control you need. Here are two common approaches: line by line reading and the reading the entire file. The line by line reading, this method reads the line by line, treating each line as a separate entity. It is useful when dealing with text files that has a distinct structure such as comma separated values, files or log files. The second one is the reading the entire file. In some cases, you may want to read the entire content of the file at once. This approach is suitable when working with smaller files or when you need to process the file as a whole. Functions like read or read lines allow you to retrieve the entire contents of the file as a single string or list lines respectively. The third one is the processing the file contents. After reading the file, you can process the retrieved data according to your program's requirements. These steps involves manipulating, parsing, or analyzing the data read from the file. For example, you might perform calculations, extract specific informations, or store the data in data structure. Lastly, closing the file. Once you have finished reading and processing the file, it is important to close it. Closing the file releasing system resources and ensures that any changes made to the file are safe. Writing to a file inserts the string str1 in a single line in the text file. File object write str.
CSV file, comma separated values. It is a simple file format used to store tabular data such as spreadsheet or database. In CSV file, each line represents a raw data and each field within that row is separated by a comma. So, ito yung example ng CSV file. So, dito sa first, ito yung header niya. So, ito yung employee ID, first name, last name, position, salary. So sa first row is naglalaman ito ng information ng isang empleyado. So tulad ng sa employee 1D, number 1 is yung first name is yung si Juan. Then yung last name niya is De La Cruz and yung position niya is manager and yung kanyang salary is 50,000. So ang CSV file format ay pwedeng i-import sa iba't ibang application tulad ng Microsoft and Excel o mga database system. So, next na slide is, ayan yung mga example ng CSV file. So, dito tayo sa next. Sa JSON file. JavaScript Object Notation is a lightweight data interchange format that is easy for humans to read and write and easy for machines to parse and generate. It is a text-based format and its file extension is typically a JSON file contains data structured in key-value pairs where each key is a string enclosed in double quotes and each value can be a string number, boolean, array, or another JSON object. So, ito ang example ng JSON file. So, meron tayong apat na key value dito. Key value pairs. Ang employee ay isang object rin na naglalaman ng mga key value pairs na naglalarawan ng impormasyon tungkol sa empleyado tulad ng pangalan, position, edad, at mga kasanayan. Ang skills naman ay isang array na naglalaman ng mga kasanayang itinuturing na taglay ng empleyado. So, ang JSON ay madalas na ginagamit sa pagpapalitan ng data sa pagitan ng mga serbisyo at mga sistema dahil sa kanyang simpleng format at interoperabilidad sa iba't ibang programming language. Ito pa ang ibang example ng JSON file.